What an excellent day for an exorcism.
The Exorcist is the 1973 horror film directed by William Friedkin, based off of the novel by William Peter Blatty. The movie stars Ellen Bernstein, Max von Sydow, and Linda Blair in a head-turning performance, no pun intended. Regan is a teenage girl who becomes possessed by some satanic entity, and her mother seeks the help of two priests after all hope seems lost of bringing back her daughter. The Exorcist is a very important film when looking at the canon of cinema. The Exorcist was the first of its kind to bring an awareness of demon possession. Rosemary's Baby scratched the surface of satanic films, but The Exorcist went all in. On the movie's poster, the tagline for the film reads, "The scariest movie of all time." This was a very bold claim to make, especially for the hubris of the filmmakers. However, every critic and audience member of the last couple decades who saw this film can back up that statement. This film terrified audiences and critics simply because no film of this horror had ever been seen on the big screen before. The horrific images and bizarre demon possession scenes helped give this film its reputation. The movie also brought an awareness to the Catholic Church and opened a floodgate of future demon possession films that we are still getting today, each trying to recapture what The Exorcist brought back in 1973. The Exorcist is a magical feast of wizardry and puppetry. The scene where Regan performs the famous 360 head spin was all done animatronically with the use of a puppet head sculptured for Linda Blair in full makeup. The scene where the priest enters Regan's bedroom and their breaths are visibly shown was all done in real time. The set designers, under the director's orders, set the temperature in the room to be as cold as an icebox, making the chilling suspense all the more terrifying. As for the voice of the demon, the voice was provided by an actress named Mercedes McCambridge, who would swallow raw eggs and chain smoke in order to give the voice a deep, raspy sound. Linda Blair was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for the film, and it became controversial because McCambridge had most of the film's dialogue from that particular character. Once the Academy had nominated Blair, it could not be undone, and it caused a lot of uproar with McCambridge and those involved with the film. During the documentary Making of video, it was revealed that a lot of the scenes and shots were not scripted because William Friedkin wanted a lot of realistic reactionary takes. For instance, there is a scene where Regan slaps her mother across the face. Ellen Bernstein was only told what they were going to do, but the slap was so forced and hard, her actual reaction and scream was 100% real. Another reactionary shot involved Regan saying foul things to Max von Sydow's character, and they were so atrocious, Max von Sydow paused and was so appalled that he forgot his lines. The projectile vomiting scene is considered to be one of the scariest movie scenes of all time, and the mechanics of how the special effects artists constructed that scene were done to perfection. 25 years after the film was released, The Exorcist went back into the theaters in 1998. It was dubbed The Version You've Never Seen. The film includes the famous spider walk scene where Regan walks upside down up and down the stairs. This scene was done using a contortionist named Linda R. Hager. Director William Friedkin took the scene out of the film originally because the special effects that helped Hager perform the scene didn't look good. But after many decades of improved effects, he put it back in the film and it was extremely effective. In fact, it was so influential that most Exorcist-themed films have some sort of spider walk scene in them. The movie studio that was funding the film constantly watched footage weekly and thought the film looked ridiculous and had no faith in the final product until it was released into the theaters. Audiences really responded to The Exorcist when it came out, and people kept going back to see it in the theater. The Exorcist was the first horror film ever to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture, and adjusting to inflation, it is the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. The film holds up extremely well for its age, and it continues to frighten people who have never seen it. Most critics, myself included, can agree that The Exorcist is the most influential horror film of all time, and has significantly had an influence on pop culture since its terrifying release.